Hey, Stephen here with hashtag coping with COVID. 15-minute power podcasts. Powerful message, powerful podcast worth sharing. Now, this is a continuation and an evolution of hashtag dining behind the mask. You see, one of the things I did when I recorded the first episode of that, which was the pilot, was I wasn't sure the reception and the audience and sort of how the viewership was going to play out, how many small business restaurants were going to want to get involved in it. So one thing that I did was I associated multiple titles and hashtags with it. And coping with COVID was always one of them. And this is going to be the one that's going to take over the brand. Now, first and foremost, I want to assure that the first 4 episodes that I've done, okay, including the pilot, the first 4 episodes I've done, including the pilot, will remain unchanged. They will not be retitled, and all the tags that were associated with them will stay. But going forward, henceforth, this will be coping with COVID. And as you can see by the new logo that you're looking at right now, it's going to be more than just restaurants. That will remain a segment. Okay, we will be doing that. We're going to be doing another episode hopefully pretty soon. I've reached out to another batch of small businesses, small business restaurant owners. But I've expanded this podcast to be about post-pandemic mindset. Okay, mindset is very important. Being open-minded, especially these days, is very important. We're going to be talking to other types of small business owners. Okay, I've got some great guests coming on the show this week that fall into this category. I actually have an author coming on tomorrow, and then I also have a real estate agent who's built up her own real estate business coming on tomorrow as well. So you'll be seeing those episodes very, very shortly. I'm also going to keep these a little bit shorter, okay? We're aiming for 15 minutes. Why 15 minutes? Well, because 15 minutes is a good time block. I use that in teaching. I'm a learning behavior specialist. We track behavior every 15 minutes. I've seen that done in the restaurant industry, actually. Reservations tracked every 15 minutes. Just a good time mark. Just about everybody. I'm going to make the bold statement right now. Everybody has 15 minutes plus 30 seconds. What's the extra 30 seconds? I want you right now to click that share button and share this on your timeline. Share this. A lot of people these days, they want you to not just share it, they want you to subscribe, like, comment, post it on Instagram, tweet about it. You know, I would more than love it if people did that, but all I'm asking you to do is one thing and one thing only, and that's share it. Help me share this, because even if you think you don't know somebody, you probably do know somebody, or you might know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who wants to come on a podcast like this and speak about the mindset that it takes to maintain and run a small business, recover profits in a restaurant right now, even work in healthcare. Wants to talk about education. That's something I want to have more guests in the coming weeks as we learn about schools in Illinois reopening. So this is a Chicagoland area podcast based in Illinois, of course, but I'm looking to have as many guests as possible. I'm not going to put really any limitations to this, but the only limit is going to be 15 minutes because I want people to be able to listen to the whole thing. I want it to be something where people can get the message from it as quickly and efficiently as possible, re-listen to it if they want to, share it once again, very important to share it, and then really just benefit from it and go about their day. I recorded a couple episodes. They were fantastic, but they went 30 minutes to an hour, and I think that while I definitely, don't get me wrong, I love those episodes, great content, you should listen to it. I want to condense this more because I want people to not just view this, but I want them to really be able to listen to it, you know, maybe as they check their email or as they make coffee in the morning, and then you just go about your day. So that's really the purpose of this. So coping with COVID, we're going to be talking about contemporary coping strategies. Some of these will be based off of the 3-step Delta process that I explained when I was a guest on David Wygant's podcast, which I had the link on my Facebook timeline. And we're also going to be expanding on that using my experience as a learning behavior specialist teacher. going on for the last 5 years. Okay. So who would benefit from this podcast? Well, I would like to make the bold argument that anyone and everyone could benefit from this. If you have 15 minutes, who doesn't have 15 minutes? You have to make time. We're all still spending more time at home now these days. So if you need to schedule yourself 15 minutes of self-improvement time to learn, time to open your mind, hear different perspectives. And that's something that I want to have on this podcast. And this week, we're going to be diving into small business. Like I said, real estate. How is what's going on affecting the real estate market? And we're also going to be talking about these contemporary coping strategies. So what are some things that you can do to really be more productive? What are some things you can really do to stay as positive and present as possible? You've heard me say that phrase, and I'll say it again. I've said it on pretty much every episode now, and that's going to be something that's going to be universal to all of these episodes. We're going to figure out how together we're going to remain as positive and as present as possible with coping with COVID. Okay. So who else can benefit from this besides people just looking for something to listen to get different perspectives, different mindsets? Well, certainly my original hope with the restaurant small business, and applies to small businesses other than just restaurants, is other people who run their own business, other people who work for a business, who want to be more productive, who want to hear how other people are doing. We don't want to be pulling away from each other. We want to be coming together during these times and really learning. I think, you never stop learning. As a teacher, I've made a commitment a long time ago to lifelong learning. I think that the more people I can convince to have that perspective, the more satisfied I will be with the impact that I make. And that's, the podcast is a great way to do it. Right now, the podcast is being uploaded and published individually, separately on both Facebook and YouTube. Once the viewership sort of goes up, I may consider moving these episodes onto a podcast type repository website. Right now it's Facebook and YouTube, and the podcast is uploaded as a video file because that's the best way that I can get the content to you based on those platforms. I do not paste a YouTube link on Facebook because I think Facebook treats those links differently, so I upload it separately. So you can always access it on my public Facebook profile, and you can always access it on my YouTube at youtube.com/STVYT. That's youtube.com/STVYT. And once again, you will see that I renamed the playlist Coping with COVID, that these videos or these podcast videos go into. But like I said before, the pre-existing episodes will remain unchanged. So if you have something to say about COVID, pandemic, in your education, restaurant, small business, healthcare, really any and all industries and all perspectives that have been affected by this, please contact me. You can leave a comment. You can send me a direct private message. I would love to hear from you. And I'll be also sharing some of my own coping strategies and mindful mitigations that I do to be, like I said, once again, as positive and present during these times. I'm not going to get into it on this episode. This is just sort of a transitional episode. Generally, I only do episodes when I have a guest because the podcast is, I want to add my perspective, but I want to also have a guest perspective, and we kind of mesh together and we kind of, figure out the topic for that episode, and it kind of just flows like a conversation. I'll do some planning, I'll do some question and content organization, and I'll send it to them and see what they think. But I don't usually like to record episodes with just me because I want to expand. I want to broaden the horizons of the listeners. So this will be the only one that just has me, but I wanted to record it because it is a transition. This project started off as I was going to make this an indie film informal documentary, and then it turned into a podcast, Dining Behind the Mask, and now it's evolved into a 15-minute positivity power podcast that in 15 minutes or less is going to broaden and expand, like I said, your horizon, your knowledge, your mindset, your perspective on things, expose you to new ideas, different perspective, and really just have an interesting conversation. I love nothing more than to listen to something inspiring, educational, and eye-opening as I'm drinking my, late morning coffee. So hopefully, if any of that can help anybody out there, then that's a good day in my book. So once again, please share this. This is a introductory transitional episode, and I hope to see you all on the next podcast, which will be Coping with COVID, episode 6. Like I said, we have 2 great episodes coming tomorrow with great guests. You will not want to miss this. You will not want to miss it. I promise you that. Take care.